Hi everyone, my name is Shelly. Welcome to another episode on my channel. Today I'm going to give you a video as promised about proper alignment. There's a lot that goes into alignment and a human anatomy and the proper posture. So I'm just going to kind of narrow it down and give you some good tips that will help you to make sure that you are in proper form, proper posture, and alignment. So, and this applies to not only if you're just standing there or you're doing something, but also applies to when you're in the gym as well. So, with that being said, let's get started. So if your body is in the proper alignment, and I'm just going to show you guys from the side here, your ears should line up directly with your shoulders. You might find, if your posture is a little off, that maybe your shoulders are in front of you, or maybe that they're behind you, which means that you're sticking your chest way out too much and actually causing shortness within the back of your body and too much lengthening in the front, or vice versa. If your shoulders are rounded, there's too much lengthening going on in the back and too much shortening of the muscles going up in front, which means that you have some imbalances either in the chest, in the front shoulder. You have some imbalances and weaknesses in the traps, the rhomboids, and the neck flexors and extensors as well. So making sure, that you are mindful of your shoulders. They should be down. They shouldn't be raised up. They should be down, and then they should be back. Think about what your scapula is doing, or your shoulder blades. Your scapula shouldn't be wide open. So I want you to kind of just feel your shoulder blades. If your shoulder blades are open, that means that your shoulders are actually rounded forward. If you find that your shoulder blades are almost touching, then you're over sticking out that chest, and that could be bad for your scapula to be in a constant pinched state as well. So your ears should line up with your shoulders, and the next joint that we have to worry about is your hips. So are your hips in the proper place? If they are, they should be stacked directly under your shoulders. If your hips are out of place, then you can either have a tilt forward or a tilt backward. What I want you to visualize right now, so that way you understand the proper placement of your hips, is I want you to visualize your hips as a bucket. So your hips are here, and they're a bucket full of water. If your bucket is in the correct position, there should be no water overflowing or spilling either front or in back. So with that being said, your hips are a bucket here. If they're in the correct position, your body is nice and upright. As I said, ears are in line with those shoulders, and shoulders are directly over those hips. So if your hips are tilted forward, there's going to be water spilling out in the front. If your hips are tilted back, then you're going to have water spilling out in the back. To find that middle ground, I recommend squeezing the glutes. It usually pushes your hips in the proper place and allows core stability. So your glutes and your core and your erector spinae muscles, which are your low back muscles, and your hip flexors actually stabilize your spine. So your glutes, your core, your erectors, and your hip flexors being in the correct position will ensure that you have proper posture and that you get full range of motion on all those muscles and on your joints. So that brings me to my next point, which is your knees. If your hips are stacked directly under your shoulders, then your knees should be in the proper place as well, which should be directly stacked under those hips. So usually if you have that tilt with your hips, then your knees aren't in the right place. But as long as your hips are in the right place, then your knees should be in the right place as well. And then with your ankles, they should be directly stacked under your knees. With your feet, the important thing to remember is that your feet should not point out. What it does, especially if you're walking with your feet pointed out, you're putting a lot of stress on your muscles and your joints because they're not in proper alignment. Your feet should be pointed forward. When your body is not in proper alignment, like I said, it puts unwanted stress on muscles, on joints, which usually cause some type of pain within the body. So making sure those feet are forward. If you find that your feet do go out as you walk or as you stand, just make it something that you're mindful of and practice having your feet forward. Practice properly engaging the muscles that should be working when standing upright. So that's kind of like a basic analysis of the proper posture. If you want more detailed information, you can always email me or message me. You can leave a comment. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave that information and I'll be happy to answer. So until next time, I should say, I will see you guys later. Bye.